Warning all flock members, if you want to become truly elite, for just $1 a month, you too can become an elite bad bird. Check out my Patreon account. Link is in the description.
Hello, my flock. The Badraven is here. And yes, we have another installment of the Friday the 13th marathon, which is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Or I'd like to call it Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason on a Boat. Because about an hour and 30 minutes of it is Jason on a boat. And the last maybe 30 minutes, luckily, maybe, kind of, sort of, is in New York. But don't quote me on that, because some of the city scenes, like the back alleys and stuff, was I think in Canada or something. We are up to this in the marathon, and I wanted to get this out to the flock, because I'm trying to get them all in before the end of the next Friday 13th, which is coming up on July 13th. And we're going to hopefully get these all done, because this is Part 8. This is the last of the Paramount versions of the movies. They didn't get back in the game to the remake, so this is the first 8 were all made by Paramount before they sold the rights. Let's dive right into this. This movie was made in 1989, and this is the second appearance as Kane Hodder as Jason, because he was in Part 7, now Part 8. So this is the second time we see him as Jason. I'll just kind of go over who's in it, just the first few people. Jensen Daggett is Rennie Wickham. Scott Reeves is Sean Robertson. Of course, Kane Hodder is Jason. Peter Mark Rickman is Charles McCulley. That is the main ones. Most people, there's other ones in there. There is a female that's very unlikable. I have to put her in there. Tiffany Paulson is Susie Donaldson, and she is the resident bad girl. All right, the reason that let me just kind of get into some of the things about the reason that most of it's not filmed in Manhattan. It's because they couldn't. The budget was so small, they wouldn't let them film all the days they wanted to in New York. They had the director, which let me see if I can call him up here. The director was Rob Heaton. He wanted to do more stuff in New York, and the Paramount would not let him do all this. So they couldn't afford to have all that done in New York. So he had to come up with another plan. That's why they're on a boat most of the time going to New York. Now, let me set it up here. Rennie is like her high school graduation with her friends from high school, all the high school class, the senior classes, going on this boat trip to Manhattan. But her legal guardian, teachers, doesn't want her to go for some reason. He is a very strange person. He's like her legal guardian, not related to her in any way. Yeah, Peter Mark Rickman is the guy that plays Charles McCulloch, and he's her legal guardian. He doesn't want her to go, but she ends up going anyway. Put it that way, Rennie does. And of course, you're going to have her boyfriend, which is Sean Robertson. She meets on the boat, played by Scott Reeves. She gets on the boat, and we kind of find out she gets on the boat, and we kind of find out that she's afraid of water. Because apparently, the Charles McCulley character here, her guardian, one time when she was wanting to learn with a little girl, pushed her into the lake and told her that Jason was down there, so she's going to have to learn how to swim. He just throws her in the water and tries to teach her how to swim and scares her with the Jason tale, because they're in kind of Crystal Lake. Of course, she does get pulled down when she's a child, and she sees a young Jason all deformed and been in the water. So she has some kind of problem. She's seeing Jason floating around all over the place. So anyway, they're on the boat, and of course there's the mean girl, Susie, on there, and she doesn't like Rennie at all. So she's like constantly giving her trouble. One time she pushes her off the boat because she's afraid of water. Her boyfriend jumps in, grabs her, gets her out. People are just really strange on this boat. It's supposed to be like a cruise ship, but it looks like a little dinghy type boat thing. Not much to it at all. It's really strange looking. It's got all the callings of not the boat, but of the people, the teenagers on of the 80s. At least all they're supposed to be teenagers, but they all look like they're in their 30s. All the cast, especially the Susie character, she looks. You can tell by her makeup, especially in the high def version that I watched. She looks very old. You can tell the wrinkles. They're all playing teenagers. But there's got your slew of different characters. You got the boxer dude, the black boxer dude that is on there. Susie likes him. And there's the nerdy guy with the camera, who's the big old humongous camp to hold on your shoulder and had the big VHS tapes. He's in love with Susie, of course. We got the triangle going on. So it's just like your basic 80s stuff, your teen angst of growing up or whatever, and you throw in Jason. Let's get into how Jason comes back to life. Do we get another electricity problem? Yes, we do get another electricity thing of bringing him back to life. This one couple at the beginning of it are in their little boat. I guess it was like a yacht, small yacht, and they're floating down through Crystal Lake, and they park their little boat right at Crystal Lake. Boy and girl, and they drop anchor. And of course, the anchor hooks on to a big electrical cord, kind of like in Jaws 2, that's powering the island or powering the camp. It gets entangled. The anchor gets entangled with the electrical line, and of course, Jason's body is laying right on top of the line, with the big pier boathouse has fell on him, where Tina collapsed it in part 7. So when it gets in a bind with the anchor, the electrical line electrocutes Jason back to life, and voila, he's back to life. And I noticed with this Jason incarnation, they kind of get rid of all the little places and scars and everything. There's a few attempts that maybe looking like he's been hit with a hatchet or something in the head, but the big thing where Tommy gets him in part 4 is completely gone, or maybe it's because it's supposed to be oozed down, because his face is like a big puddle of ooze, you don't have which is strange. In the last one, part 7, when he got blew up, his suit was all tattered in the back and had his skeleton showing. This one, he has no places. It's just solid green, oozy suit, a jumpsuit type thing. So I don't understand if he changed clothes somewhere after getting blown up before the building fell on him in part 7. I don't know, but somehow he's got a new set of clothes and boots and everything, but it's all waterlogged. He's all, covered in water all the time. He gets out of the water, and of course the boy on the boat tries to scare his girlfriend with the story of Jason, and he brings a Jason mask, and there's the Jason mask conveniently left there, because in part 7, remember, Tina split the thing in two, so she gets to, Jason gets onto the boat, of course, and nobody hears him, and he finds the mask, and first thing he does put it on, takes a spear gun the guy was playing with, and kills the boy, gets the girl later, she's hiding. The slowest kill ever, she's on the boat, and she's hitting the little compartment, he opens it up, and he's got the little spear thing, and he's just taking it down toward her really slow, because he gets to bend way down to kill her, and it's like, she's screaming, and it just stab. And I noticed a lot of the kills were cutaways. That's the MPAA back in '89 really got tired of the blood and gore, this killing of women or something, so they really cut a lot of that stuff out. So with a lot of bloodless kills, very strange for Friday the 13th. Get right up to the point, then it just goes off. I don't even think we saw too much of the aftermath. Kind of strange for sure. But anyway, he drives that boat. He gets that boat after he kills both of those teenagers and drives it to where the other kids are getting on the other boat. It's going to Manhattan, which they kind of leave out the problem that there is there's no lake or river or ocean or anything that goes from Camp Crystal Lake to the big city of Manhattan. But that's all hearsay. I guess in New Jersey, I don't know. They got their thing wrong. It's like, Jaws following the plane in part 4 to the Bahamas. It's kind of like that with Jason. But he gets off that boat, climbs up on another boat in daylight, just shimmies up the anchor chain, and gets on the boat. Unbeknownst to anybody, but maybe one deckhand that's always talking about kind of the crazy Ralph of part 8. we're all doomed. We're doomed. He's coming. I've seen him. He gets on here. He's getting on here and all this. And nobody believes him, of course. Nobody takes him serious. Now everybody starts dropping dead. And we get some really great kills on the boat. We get the girl, the rocker, punk rocker, 80s girl, running around with her little amp and her little electric guitar. And she's like jamming out. And he kills her with the guitar. And this is a teleporting Jason. This is a Jason where they're right beside of him. They go down another section way over here, and there's another. He's standing there in front of them. And I think like the old days, you know, like you just kind of walk and catch up. He's already in front of them. He teleports somehow to their destination and kills her. Of course, like she runs off. He's right behind her on a staircase thing. She runs off a couple fleets of steps and everything, and there he is with the guitar and kills her with the guitar. Again, shows blood, but you don't really see anything. Maybe he smashes her in the head. You got it. The disco. Jason kills disco. Which I guess was almost the 90s. I guess disco was already dead. But on this boat, this fancy boat to the Manhattan, they had a disco floor. You know, like Saturday Night Fever. I can't believe I expect John Travolta to come out there and do his like white tuxedo, you know, arm up thing. It was so weird, and you could tell it was like really small in there. And he did a teleporting in that. He kills a girl. He goes into the disco place because she's running from it. And I don't know how on a boat that wasn't that big, nobody saw all this killing going on. But he's down there, he's chasing her. She goes right into the disco, and somehow the disco comes to life. I don't know if Jason knows how to work the PA system or the music, whatever. The big ball, you know, the big disco ball starts showing the lights, and she looks to the right, and there he's there. Looks to the left, and he's there, and looks straight ahead, and he's there. So, is there 3 Jasons, or is he just teleporting all over the place? Then she's like standing there and looking all over. And he's right here. Boop, boop, kills her. You know, strangles her or something. Throws her on the dance floor, and boogies on out the door. He just had some really strange kills. And there was another kid that's like running, and he goes up a big the ladder up to the top of the to the sails are. And Jason's way at the bottom, and all of a sudden he just reaches up and boop, pulls him down. He's right up those. Like the kid goes up 40 steps, straight up a pole, and before he can get to the top, Jason's already grabbed him by his shirt and yanks him down. I can't explain how he does it, but he's Jason. I guess we're just supposed to suspend disbelief. He pretty much wipes out everybody on the boat, any kind of grown up except for the stupid. The guardian of Rennie and Rennie's boyfriend and the one lady that come with Rennie that gave him the Stephen King ink pen. I don't know if Stephen King would have liked his name put in this movie, but it's there. They're all and they're the only ones left. They pretty much Jason blows up the whole boat by knocking the video camera boy with a big humongous VHS camcorder into the electrical lines of the boat. I don't know how it catches fire through his body, and it burns down the whole boat. Of course, everybody gets off the boat. Not everybody, but the ones remaining, the 2 adults, and well, I think 5 people get off the 2 adults, Rennie, her boyfriend, and the black boxer. You know, so we get those 5, and they get in a little inflatable boat, you know, raft, and they paddle all the way to where? New York. They see the Statue of Liberty. We know we're in New York. Actual footage. They get there almost an hour and a half into the movie. The longest movie ever for Friday. I think it's like 2 hours or something, or close to 2 hours. Like 111 minutes or something. But anyway, they get there. We get to see Jason, and he must have swam like a shark, because I always call him the Jaws of Friday the 13th. He's the Jaws. He swims by the boat, I guess, and they don't see him, or maybe he's holding on to the bottom of the boat. I don't know. They get to the docks in the middle of the night and get out of the boat, and of course Jason's right behind them, pulls himself up. And the first thing he sees is a big hockey billboard of him masked just like his, got the red chevron, doesn't have the little bitty on the side, but he's like, what the heck? And he's kind of tilting his head like Michael Myers, looking at it like, oh my God, they got me here in this city. So Jason's in Manhattan. Jason's in the Big Apple. Jason has arrived. The last 5 minutes of the movie. Of course, we have to run into junkies. They get Rennie and they pump her full of some illegal drugs, and Jason doesn't like that. So he kills those two scummy people. The boxer is named, the character, Vincent Craig Dupree is the actor who plays Julius Gall. He's the boxer on the boat of the high school. Well, anyway, Julius, the boxer, gets away from the group in Manhattan, and he's on top of the roof running away from Jason. Jason is after him, and he gets on top of the roof, and so Julius has no way to get off the roof without facing Jason, because Jason's already at the top of the roof, you know, teleport stuff. He just starts boxing Jason. He's just like Mike Tyson's punch out, just pow, 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 popping him, punching him in the mouth, giving the uppercut, hitting him in the chest, blows to the body. Jason's taking all the hits, and backing up, and you think he's going to knock him, you know, Jason off the building. Julius is going to do, but no, he's already out of. His fingers and his hands are all bloody and everything. Where he's hitting the mask so hard and everything, and he's like out of energy. He's like slugging as hard as he can. He's missing him, and he finally sits back and says, "Come on, Jason, give me your best shot." Jason, one hit, knocks his whole head off, and it completely severs his head like his, you know, completely like he's cut with a knife, but it's with his uppercut. Crazy. That's where they end up finding his head later on in the police car when the police guy gets there to help Rennie, her boyfriend, her guardian, and the woman. They look in there and there's his head, and everybody freaks out. Jason grabs the cop, kills him. Rennie jumps in the place of the cops, driving the cop's car. So they're all, her boyfriend, all of them are in the car. She's running down, she's flying down the road. She sees a young Jason pop up out of nowhere. Jason, the young version of him is in this movie is not as much as Kane Hodder's Jason is. You know, on the boat when they was coming there, she kept seeing him floating around in her room and everything, and he's like, "Help me, help me!" She sees him in the bathroom when she's like cleaning her skin, and he like comes out of the mirror and like, ah, and he's got his eyes all hanging down like that. I don't know, strange. She's like sees him everywhere because, you know, the drowning sequence and everything. She finally, after that blows up, it kills the woman that gave her the Stephen King pen. It's just her boyfriend and her guardian. She sees the trauma that happened to her when she was trying to learn how to swim, and her guardian throwing her in the water. She figures that out. She banishes him. She runs off with her boyfriend. Julius is already dead from being punched in the face by Jason. So the guardian, McCollum, is chased by Jason. Jason finally grabs him, throws him through a building window, picks him up, throws him in a trash can full of gooey looking nuclear waste. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about nuclear waste. I guess in the 80s we was all worried about nuclear waste, so they thought New York was full of it. Maybe it is. I don't know. I've not been to New York. But apparently there's just buckets or cans full of nuclear waste and rats. Of course, I've always heard about rats in New York City. And he throws him down in there head first and drowns him, of course. So I just leave the boyfriend and Rennie. They run down to get away from Jason into the subway, and we see a great scene of Jason on the subway. It was really cool seeing Jason reacting to all the other people, and I like the way the people act in New York. It's like they've never seen this before anyway. People get killed there all the time apparently, and they just like, you know, see them running away from a guy with a hockey mask, and they just look at him like, oh, that's just another hockey mask guy killing somebody. I'm gonna read my newspaper. So New York is a perfect place for Jason. Kill him right there. Nobody cares. Just don't, you know, keep me from drinking my coffee or looking at a magazine or whatever, because we didn't have no phones back then, so that would have been somebody on the phone if it had been that time. But anyhow, he chases them through there, and he gets all the way to the end of the subway bus. They can't go on it. I mean, subway bus. What's a subway bus? The subway car, and her boyfriend just pulls the emergency brake and throws Jason off his feet. It's kind of funny. See Kane go flying, and that makes Jason mad. He doesn't want to fall and look everybody make fun of him. You know, he's always had this complex of being a little kid and everybody making fun of him. So, you know, he didn't like that at all. They open up the back part when the train stops. So they get off. Jason comes off, and somewhere her boyfriend gets this superpower and jumps and hits Jason without him knowing it. Knocks him into the rails of the train, electrocutes him again. I don't know how you bring him off 2 or 3 times, but you think he's dead. But of course he's not. He's Jason. Can't electrocute him twice. It ain't gonna hurt anything. So they get away from him there. They go back, and this is the coolest part of the whole entire movie. They're up, and finally they come out of a subway entrance, and they're right in Times Square. They look up, and they're in Times Square where the ball drops, all that kind of stuff, and they're looking around. They're so cool, we just killed Jason. Now let's just walk here and hold hands. And they start walking down the street, and they're looking at all the lights and stuff in the buildings of Times Square. And Rennie looks back, and there's Jason, just sort of, and it's like close up, boom, 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 to his mask. And Jason just, lifts his head up, and like he just starts walking toward him like Terminator. So they start running. And a cool scene with a bunch of thugs, young boys sitting there listening to their boombox on a little chair. And here comes Jason there and kicks the boombox out of the way, and they get their knives out and they say, "Hey, man, we're gonna kill you. We're gonna get you. You can't do that to our stuff." And Jason turns around. You can't see his face, but you can see him lift his mask up, and the kids see what he looks like underneath there. Boom, they leave. It's okay, man. It's okay. They take off flying. Really cool scene. Rennie and him run into a restaurant, said, "There's a man trying to kill us." And the woman said, "Welcome to New York, where people would run away from people that kill them." And about that time, Jason busts through the door, and here's this big fella. She's like, "Oh, get him out of here, get him out of here." They like a bouncer type fella. And I think he's one of the guy that plays this character of the bouncer is actually the Jason in the Freddy vs. Jason. I think that's what I saw in the trivia. So let's check that out. Anyway, he comes to grab Jason, and Jason grabs him and throws him over the bar into the glass, and like that's some cool imagery of the glass shattered and Jason walking by and the woman all scared behind the counter. By then, Rennie and her man's all at the back. They're trying to find places to get away from Jason. The only place to find is the sewer, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles take, so they go down in there, and Jason sees them go down in there, so he goes down there. They're running through there, the Rennie and her boyfriend, and they run into a city worker, aka Sewer Man. And he's like saying, "Hey, we gotta get out of here. I'll show you the exit." Because they said, we can't go back that way. "I'll show you where the exit, because this place gets flooded with nuclear waste at night, at midnight." So like I said, nuclear waste is floating in New York City everywhere. Nuclear waste everywhere, people. You're gonna die of nuclear waste. Anyway, so they're trying to find an exit. And of course, Jason teleports, catches up with them, kills the poor fella with his own little wrench. Boom, splatters blood. You don't see it, just sees the guy's, portrait. We call it shadow over there, and then hit him in the head, and you see a big red blood spatter. Anyway, Rennie he grabs Rennie's boyfriend, throws him against the wall, knocks him out. Of course, he starts chasing Rennie, leaves him there, and doesn't try to kill him. I don't know why. But anyway, he sees Rennie, and she's like, "Jason, Jason," and he chases her down, and she finds this little can of nuclear waste. It's a little can of nuclear waste sitting over the corner, just where she needed it. "Hey, I found a can of nuclear waste." So Jason's coming up there, and he comes around the corner, and she just surprises him and throws the can of nuclear waste right in his face. It hits his mask, starts melting the mask, and he takes it off, and you see the weirdest looking Jason face ever. Oh, the slimy down again. His face is all wide. His teeth look like he's got no teeth. And he's like Gumby the bear, and he's like, it's all swollen, and head is all deformed. It's really disgusting. I guess it's swollen over years. I guess being waterlogged, being underwater at Camp Crystal Lake. Anyway, he's like, special effects showing his face is dreary, I guess the nuclear waste is just like waste in his face, and he's like hitting the sides of the wall, walking towards her, trying to find her, and she gets ahead of him, gets her boyfriend. They find a place where the sewer man was trying to take them to. They start climbing the ladder, and of course, there's Jason at the foot of the ladder, grabbing at Rennie's foot, because she's got her boyfriend in front of her, and they can't get out the lid, but they're far enough up of the ladder that the sewer water shouldn't hit her, or the nuclear waste water shouldn't hit them. Well, you see the lights start shaking in the sewer. They got sewer lights. I guess if they get down there, they don't want to get, get killed by a rat, so they have all these lights. Anyway, the water just starts gushing through there, and it hits Jason full force, the nuclear water or whatever, sewer water, and he's like covered up, and Rennie and her boyfriend are just above it, and they're looking down there, and you just see Jason going under the water, and then it starts going down. The water starts going down, and you see a little hand pop up, and it's like there, and you see little Jason boy left on the little side of the ditch or whatever you call it in the sewer. And he's just him in his little boxers or swimming trunks or whatever. And he's just the perfect little Jason. Young like he was when Rennie saw him when she was a little kid trying to learn how to swim. And he's like, oh, nuclear waste can turn you into a little child. I don't know why they ever didn't just throw nuclear waste on old people and make them young again. I guess it killed them in the process. Wasn't a good idea to do that. But in Hollywood, if you get nuclear waste on you, you can return to childhood. You can just return to your childhood years when you were bullied and thrown into a river or or lake, Crystal Lake. And Jason happened to him. So they just get out. Somehow they're able to get out of that tunnel. They leave poor, defenseless, dead little Jason down in there. And they say it's like daybreak at Times Square, and they're just kind of walking and holding hands, and it goes off. And that's it. And that's all of Friday the 13th, Jason on a boat. I mean, Jason Takes Manhattan. So that's my thoughts on the matter. It's nostalgia. I got the poster of Part 8, and I took it to the Scarefest a few years back and had Kane sign it because it was one of the cheaper posters to get because the movie wasn't that good. But I still like the poster. I still like the movie, even though it's campy as all get out and ridiculous. But those Friday the 13th movies are ridiculous because Jason comes back from all kinds of stuff. But it was really getting bad toward the end of these. Really far-fetched to get Jason back to life and doing all this stuff. So kind of not the greatest entry in it. But this is the last of the Paramount ones. And now we're going to be going on to Part 9, which will be took over by New Line. Jason goes to jail. Well, Jason goes to hell. I'm sorry. Sorry, don't want to offend any of my fans. That's the name of the movie. I had to say it. Or I say Jason Goes to Heck. How's that? Jason Goes to Heck. The PG-13 version. And on my channel here. But anyway, that's coming up. We definitely come back for that one. And we want to say, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of old Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. What did you think when he wasn't in Manhattan very long? Tell me about how old you were when you watched it. Where did you watch it on? VHS, theater, where? I'd like to hear that from the flock. No, I like all the little stories about this kind of stuff. Love to hear from you about it. So also check out the Patreon account. We're getting close. I know any day we're going to get a Elite Bad Birds. Just $1 a month, people. Check out the Patreon account in the link in the description. You can see it. And you can become $1 a month. You become Elite Bad Birds. I'll put your name into the videos. I'll send you a wristband, and I will state your name at the end of every video. So try to do that for the Badraven. I really appreciate it. Also, always remember the Badraven is your friend, and we appreciate every view that the flock comes and like and share this video. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. We would really love to have you in the flock. And we're going to say we're going to let you go, and we appreciate you all. So we'll let you go. We'll talk at you later, and bye.